I lost everything. My home, my family, my dreams. I thought 2024 had taken it all from me. But then, 2025 came, and with it, a second chance I never imagined. This is my story of heartbreak, betrayal, and the miracle that changed my life forever. It was a cold December morning when I realized that my world as I knew it had ended. The phone call came without warning. The person I trusted the most had betrayed me. The bank account was empty. The house I worked for decades to pay off was no longer mine. And my family? Gone. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. My hands shook. I had given everything, my love, my time, my life, and yet, here I was, alone. The silence in the house was deafening. Each tick of the clock echoed like a judgment, reminding me of all I had lost. I tried calling my daughter first. No answer. I called my son. Nothing. It felt as if the universe itself had turned against me. I walked to the kitchen and made a cup of coffee, my hands trembling. Steam rose from the mug, but it offered no comfort, only the bitter taste of reality. As the days passed, the weight of loneliness grew heavier. Friends that once claimed they cared were suddenly too busy to notice. Neighbors who greeted me warmly before now passed by without a word. Every morning, I looked in the mirror, hoping to see someone I recognized. Instead, I saw a stranger staring back, eyes sunken, face drawn, spirit broken. Yet, amid all this darkness, there was a flicker, a whisper in my heart, small but persistent. You're not finished. This is not the end. The days that followed felt endless. Each morning, I woke up to the same emptiness, the same hollow silence. Even the sun outside seemed dimmer, as if it had abandoned me too. I wandered through the house that once felt like a warm sanctuary, now echoing with shadows of memories that mocked me. Every item, every picture, every piece of furniture held a story, and each story whispered the same cruel reminder. Everything I loved was gone. I tried to reach out. Friends, relatives, even distant cousins. Some answered with half-hearted words, others with excuses, and a few with silence. I began to wonder if the world itself had decided I was no longer worthy of kindness. And then came the nights, the long, suffocating nights where the darkness seemed to press on my chest, stealing my breath. Sleep came rarely. When it did, it was restless, full of dreams where I was chasing shadows, unable to catch them. I would wake up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding, my mind racing. It was during one of these nights that I realized I had two choices. I could continue sinking into despair, letting 2024 claim me entirely, or I could cling to that tiny flicker of hope buried deep inside. The hope that whispered, "You are not finished. Your story is not over." I chose to fight. The first step was the hardest, picking up the pieces, one by one, in a house that no longer felt like home. I cleaned rooms I once filled with laughter, not just dirt or dust. I cooked meals, not for anyone else, but for myself, a small act of reclaiming my life. And as I did these small things, something incredible began to happen. My heart, though battered, started to remember what it felt like to beat with purpose. My eyes, though tired, began to notice the little joys, the warmth of morning sunlight, the smell of fresh coffee, the quiet hum of life continuing outside my window. Then, slowly, I began reaching out again, not for validation, not for pity, but to reconnect. A neighbor's smile, a friend's genuine call, a cousin's unexpected message. These tiny sparks reminded me the world was still there. People still existed who cared. And while 2024 had taken much from me, it had not taken my spirit entirely. That realization became my anchor. I realized that losing everything was not the end, but a brutal yet necessary beginning. The first weeks were the hardest. I found myself walking through the empty rooms, each echo a haunting reminder of what I had lost. The laughter of my children, once so constant, was now replaced by silence that pressed heavily on my chest. I would sit on the couch for hours, staring at the walls as memories replayed like an endless film. Birthday parties, late-night talks, small moments of joy I had taken for granted. I tried to reach out to my daughter. My voice trembled as I called her phone, hoping for a simple "Hi, Mom," but silence answered me each time. I could feel the space between us widening with every unanswered call. And my son? He had already built walls too high for me to climb. Their absence was like a storm, a constant, cold wind that chilled me to the bone. Food lost its taste. Days blended into nights. I could no longer tell if I was alive or merely existing. My friends, those I once leaned on, became distant shadows. Some offered hollow words of encouragement. Others pretended not to notice. I began to feel invisible in a world I once believed was my own. Sleep became a stranger. Every night, I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the minutes until dawn. My dreams were restless, full of running, falling, and being chased by faceless figures. When I awoke, my body ached, my heart heavy, yet a part of me refused to surrender. It was in one of these sleepless nights that I realized I had a choice. I could either continue sinking into despair, letting 2024 define me, or I could fight back, one small step at a time. That flicker of hope inside me, so fragile yet persistent, whispered, "You are not finished. Your story is not over." I started with small acts of reclaiming my life. I cleaned the house room by room, not just to tidy up, but to feel some semblance of control. I cooked meals, not for anyone else, but for myself, taking pride in nourishing my body. I went on walks, noticing things I had ignored before. The smell of the wet earth after rain, the soft hum of birds at dawn, the faint warmth of sunlight on my face. Slowly, I began to rebuild not just my surroundings, but my spirit. Every small interaction, a neighbor's smile, a friendly hello from a stranger, a cousin's unexpected message, felt monumental. Each one reminded me that life was still happening, and that even when you feel abandoned, the world has a way of nudging you forward. I journaled every day, pouring my heart onto paper. The pain, the regrets, the longing, but also the sparks of hope. Each word became a bridge to the life I wanted to reclaim. I realized that while 2024 had taken much from me, it had not taken the most important thing: my resilience, my ability to feel, to hope, and to love again. And slowly, imperceptibly at first, I began to notice change. My body ached less with despair. My mind cleared of constant panic. The shadows in the house seemed smaller, less threatening. And then one morning, I opened the door to step outside and felt the sunlight fully on my face. In that warmth, I sensed the first true sign of 2025, a year that would not break me further, but rebuild me entirely. I had lost everything, but even at rock bottom, I discovered the most profound truth. Sometimes, losing everything is the first step toward discovering who you really are. The following weeks were a relentless test of my spirit. Every day I awoke to the same stark reality: my children, my family, my home all seemed like they belonged to someone else. The phone remained silent, and the echoes of the empty house reminded me constantly of what I had lost. But as I trudged through the monotony of days, I began noticing subtle things I had ignored in my past life. The faint aroma of coffee brewing, the sound of birds chirping outside, even the way sunlight slanted across the floor. It was as if life was quietly insisting I keep going. One afternoon, while sitting alone in the living room, I stumbled upon a box of old photographs. Images of birthdays, vacations, small happy moments frozen in time. I ran my fingers over the edges, and tears blurred my vision. The memories were both comforting and painful, a bittersweet reminder of everything I had invested in my family and the void that remained. I found myself talking to them, even if they weren't there. "I hope you're okay," I whispered. "I hope you remember what home feels like." The silence that answered back was deafening, yet strangely, it felt like a bridge, an invisible connection that refused to break entirely. As the days turned into weeks, I started leaving the house. Short walks became longer ones. I explored neighborhoods I had always passed by without notice. Each small encounter, a neighbor waving, a shopkeeper greeting me warmly, felt like a lifeline. Slowly, the world outside began to remind me that not everything was lost. I also turned inward. I wrote down every feeling, every moment of despair, and every small victory in a journal. Writing became a form of therapy. I poured my fears onto paper, and in return, The act of writing offered clarity. The pages reflected both my pain and the first inklings of resilience. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, I sat by the window and realized something profound. I had survived months of silence, loneliness, and despair. My spirit, though battered, was still intact. And somewhere deep inside, I felt a flicker of anticipation, a subtle, unspoken promise that 2025 could be different. The first real sign came unexpectedly. A message, short, hesitant, almost apologetic. "Hi, I've been thinking about you." My heart pounded. Could this be the beginning of reconciliation? Could life truly give me a second chance? Days later, the first visit came. It was tentative, cautious, full of unspoken emotions. But when our eyes met, the wall of resentment and distance that had grown over the months seemed to shatter, piece by piece. Tears were shed, words were spoken, and a fragile but undeniable connection was reborn. I realized then that losing everything wasn't the end, it was a painful but necessary prelude to rebuilding. The hardships of 2024 had stripped away everything superficial, leaving behind only what was real: love, hope, and the resilience to fight for what truly matters. As 2025 approached, I felt a quiet sense of empowerment. I had faced the darkest moments and emerged stronger, wiser, and more appreciative of life's fleeting gifts. The year ahead wasn't just a calendar change, it was a chance to reclaim joy, restore relationships, and redefine what home truly meant. And so, standing at the threshold of a new year, I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "This time, I will not be broken. This time, I will rise." The first morning of 2025 arrived with an unexpected warmth. Sunlight streamed through my window, casting golden streaks across the floor. For the first time in months, I didn't wake with a pit of despair in my stomach. Instead, there was a flicker of curiosity. What could this new year bring? I made breakfast, not out of obligation, but out of a small, quiet joy. Each bite of food felt nourishing, not just for my body, but for my spirit. I realized that the smallest acts of self-care had a profound effect on my emotional state. The house, though still echoing with memories of absence, now felt like a place where new memories could grow. Then came the call. My daughter's voice trembled on the other end, hesitant but unmistakably sincere. "Mom, I know I hurt you. I want to make things right." My heart pounded. Could this really be happening? Was it possible to bridge months of silence and betrayal with just a few words? I listened as she explained her perspective, the mistakes, the misunderstandings, the pride that had kept her away. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt hope. The days that followed were delicate. Rebuilding trust isn't immediate. It's a gradual process. We started with small interactions, shared meals, conversations about mundane topics, and laughter that felt foreign yet comforting. Each moment, though small, was a brick in the foundation of a slowly healing family. I also began to notice changes in myself. The isolation of the previous year had forced me to confront my fears, my regrets, and my desires. I was no longer just surviving, I was actively choosing to live. 2025 didn't just bring my family back, it brought a renewed sense of purpose, a chance to rediscover who I truly was. One afternoon, we sat together in the living room, the sunlight dancing on our faces. My daughter looked at me with tears glistening in her eyes. "Mom, thank you for not giving up on me." I held her hand, feeling a bond stronger than ever. "I never stopped loving you. No matter what happened, that love never fades." And in that moment, I understood the essence of the new year. It wasn't about resolutions or celebrations. It was about healing, forgiveness, and rediscovery. As weeks turned into months, the house began to feel alive again. Laughter returned, not just from my children but from me as well. The walls no longer echoed with loneliness, they echoed with love, understanding, and renewed connection. 2025 had begun as a blank page, uncertain and fragile, but through patience, honesty, and unwavering love, it had transformed into a story of redemption. The year ahead promised challenges, yes, but it also promised hope, a chance to rebuild, to cherish, and to celebrate the power of family. Standing at my window one evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, I whispered a quiet affirmation. I am ready. I am whole. I am home. And for the first time in a long time, I truly believed it. The days that followed felt different. Not perfect, not easy, but lighter. For the first time in a long while, I woke up without that heavy weight on my chest. The silence in the house no longer scared me, it comforted me. It felt like a pause between storms, a moment to breathe before life unfolded again. My daughter started visiting more often. At first, she stayed near the door, unsure, as if afraid I might push her away. But I never did. I welcomed her with the same warmth I always had, even when my heart still carried scars. We talked about small things at first: the weather, her work, memories that made us laugh. Then slowly, the conversations deepened. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, she finally broke down. "Mom, I was lost," she whispered. "I thought money, freedom, and independence would make me happy. But all it did was leave me empty." I reached for her hand. "I know," I said softly. "Sometimes we only understand the value of love after we lose it." Her tears fell freely, soaking into my shoulder. And in that moment, I felt something powerful: forgiveness. Not because she asked for it, but because my heart was finally ready to give it. Trust doesn't return overnight. It grows slowly, like a fragile plant that needs patience and care. Some days were easy, some days were heavy. There were moments when old wounds reopened, when words hurt more than they should. But instead of walking away, we stayed. We listened. We learned. I realized that healing doesn't mean forgetting the pain, it means choosing love even when fear tries to take over. Slowly, my home started to feel alive again. The walls echoed with soft laughter. The kitchen smelled of warm meals. Even the silence felt peaceful rather than lonely. And then, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, my daughter looked at me and said, "Mom, I want to come home. Not just to visit. I want to rebuild what we lost." My heart stopped. Tears filled my eyes as I nodded. Words failed me, but my soul screamed with gratitude. This was the moment I had silently prayed for: not just reconciliation, but reconnection. Life didn't magically become perfect. There were disagreements. There were misunderstandings. There were moments when the past tried to resurface. But this time, we faced everything together. We cooked meals side by side. We shared late-night conversations. We laughed at silly memories and cried over painful ones. Each day stitched another piece of our broken bond back together. I realized that sometimes losing everything teaches you how to value what truly matters. Love isn't loud. It's patient. It waits. And when it returns, it comes back stronger. By mid-year, I could feel a shift inside me. I was no longer surviving, I was living. I started doing things just for myself. Walking in the early mornings, writing my thoughts, smiling at strangers, trusting life again. 2025 wasn't loud or dramatic. It was gentle, healing, honest, and that made it beautiful. One evening, as we sat together watching the sunset, my daughter leaned against my shoulder and said, "I'm proud of you, Mom." Those words healed parts of me I didn't know were broken. I learned that family isn't about perfection. It's about forgiveness. It's about choosing each other, even after pain. I learned that loss doesn't mean the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of something deeper, truer, and more meaningful. And most importantly, I learned that even when life breaks you, it also gives you the chance to rebuild stronger than before. As 2025 moved forward, I no longer feared the future. I welcomed it, because I knew one thing for sure: I had survived the storm. And now, I was finally living in the calm after it. Just when I thought life had finally softened its grip on me, it tested my strength once more. Healing doesn't come in a straight line. Some days feel like progress. Others feel like you're walking backward into old pain. I learned that the hard way. One quiet evening, as the house filled with the gentle sound of laughter again, a phone call changed everything. My daughter answered it. I could tell by her expression something wasn't right. Her face lost color. Her hands began to shake. She looked at me and whispered, "Mom, we have a problem." Those words froze my heart. Life has a strange way of reminding you not to get too comfortable. A financial issue had resurfaced, something from the past we thought was buried. Old debts, old mistakes, old consequences. For a moment, fear returned like an unwanted guest. I saw panic in my daughter's eyes, the same fear she once had when she ran away from everything. My heart ached, but this time, I didn't collapse. I held her hands and said calmly, "We'll face this together." And for the first time, she believed me. We started working through the problem step by step. Long conversations, hard truths, late nights filled with worry and prayer. But something was different this time. We didn't blame each other. We didn't run. We didn't hide. We faced the storm side by side. Every challenge brought us closer. Every obstacle taught us patience. We learned that strength isn't loud, sometimes it's quiet endurance. One evening, as rain tapped softly against the windows, my daughter looked at me and said something I will never forget. "Mom, I used to think you were weak, but now I see you're the strongest person I know." Tears streamed down my face, not because of pain, but because of healing. In that moment, I understood something deeply. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up with love still in your heart. We talked late into the night about mistakes, regrets, and the things we wished we'd done differently. There were no accusations, only honesty. I forgave her, and more importantly, I forgave myself. That forgiveness lifted a weight I had carried for years. As weeks passed, the storm slowly faded. Life didn't become perfect, but it became peaceful. Mornings felt lighter, laughter came easier. Hope no longer felt fragile. I realized something powerful. The pain I once feared had actually reshaped me into someone stronger, wiser, and kinder. One night, standing by the window, I whispered a promise to myself. No matter what happens next, I will never give up on love or on myself. Because sometimes the hardest chapters prepare us for the most beautiful endings. They say time heals everything, but the truth is, time only heals when you choose to heal. As 2025 slowly unfolded, something inside me shifted. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was living. The pain that once defined my days had softened into wisdom. The fear that once controlled me had turned into courage. And my daughter, she was changing too. She smiled more. She laughed without guilt. She spoke with confidence, not arrogance, but peace, the kind that comes when you finally stop running from your past. One morning, as sunlight poured through the window, she sat beside me with a cup of tea and said, "Mom, I finally understand what you went through." Those words healed years of silence. One evening, she surprised me. She brought out an old photo album, dusty, forgotten, buried under years of pain. As we flipped through the pages, memories came flooding back. Smiles, struggles, moments we thought were lost forever. Then she said something that shook my soul. "I left you once, but I'll never leave you again." I couldn't speak. My heart felt full in a way I had never known before. That night, I realized something powerful. 2025 didn't just give me my family back, it gave me myself. There was no big celebration, no dramatic moment, just peace. We started doing simple things together, cooking meals, sharing stories, laughing at old jokes. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real, and real is beautiful. I stopped chasing approval, stopped blaming the past, stopped questioning my worth, because I finally understood something that took me years to learn. Losing everything doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're being rebuilt. One night, I wrote a letter to myself, the version of me who cried alone, who felt abandoned, who thought life was over. I wrote, "You survived. You stayed kind in a cruel world. You didn't give up even when it hurt. And because of that, love found you again." I folded the letter and placed it where I could always see it. As the year came to an end, we stood together watching the sky light up with fireworks. My daughter held my hand and whispered, "Thank you for never giving up on me." I smiled through tears and replied, "Thank you for coming back." In that moment, I realized something powerful. 2025 didn't just change my life, it gave it meaning. If you're watching this and feeling broken, if you think it's too late, if you feel forgotten, let this be your sign. Your story isn't over. Your healing is coming, and your best chapter may still be ahead. Subscribe for more real-life stories that heal, inspire, and remind you that you're never alone. Because sometimes, the darkest years create the brightest futures.